everyone, I'm going to talk to you about the second boss in the Throne of Thunder, which is Horridon. And this is a 2-tank fight, 2 to 3 healers and 5 to 6 DPS. Now the first thing I'm going to talk about is Horridon's abilities. The first ability is Triple Puncture. This is the tank swap mechanic, and this will be that every time he does it, he'll deal damage, and then the next puncher, you will get a debuff which will increase the puncher damage for the next one. I can't stress enough tanks that even though this is the tank swap mechanic, on the first phase, when we're dealing with the doors, you will only tank swap every time a door closes, and on the second phase, you will tank swap 6 to 7 stacks. So the next ability is Double Swipe, and this is basically the frontal and back cone damage. So you just want to make sure, range and DPS and healers, that you're not standing behind or in front of the boss. And then there's Charge, where he'll charge a random raid member and then he'll do double swipe. So of course, again, making sure that you're not standing behind and in front of the boss. On the first phase, we won't really be dealing with Horridon at all, because we're going to be dealing with sets of ads that come out of the doors in his room. So I don't want to see anyone with the Horridon as a priority damaging target, because it will be useless to us. One note about Horridon is that when he does charge a door, which you'll hear about a little bit later, he will be stunned for 10 seconds and the damage done to him will be increased. So please make sure to damage him when he hits the door, but only damage him if there's no ads up. Right then, another general rule or tip for everyone before I go into the different kinds of ads, that there's a general rule in this fight with all the ads, even though they're different. You want to be making sure that you interrupt everything you can, dispel everything you can, avoid all the damage you can, and the rule of thumb will be to kill the smallest ad that comes out to the biggest, except for when there's a Dynamancer, which you're going to hear about in a moment. So now I'm going to get to the different kinds of ads. So I'm just going to show this simple diagram. So as you can see, hopefully, there's the entrance, and the ads should come out in the same order every time that we get to the boss. So it's going to be the Faraki, the Gurubashi, the Jakari and the Amani. So let's first talk about the Faraki. So the Waste Walkers that come out will cast sand traps, which are like void zones on the ground, and they will they'll grow. So you want to make sure that you're not in those. And then also you're going to want to dispel the blazing light dot from different raid members. The other thing is that the Basilisk will do a stun. Now, what you want to make sure that you do is that you're interrupting the Basilisks and that you're dispelling if the stun does happen. So that's all you want to know about those. So we'll go to the next door, which is the Gurubashi. And with these, Venom Priests will do a Poison Volley, which you want to make sure you're interrupting. They can also summon small ads, which will also do the Poison Volley, which we want to make sure we're interrupting. Remember, as I said, note, the smallest thing needs to die first. So, and then when a small ad is summoned, it also will cause a poisoned void zone to move across the room. So we want to make sure that we're avoiding that as well. So the tip with the Gurubashi is to interrupt and make sure that you're dispelling volley when it goes off, when it goes onto other people. The other thing that will happen is that the Bloodlords will, when they charge other raid members, they will leave a bleed on them. So we want to make sure that we're interrupting, dispelling and avoiding damage that we can on the Gurubashi one. The next is Jakari, and the Frozen Warlord will summon some Frost Orbs, and those Frost Orbs will slow people in the raid and also slow casting, so we want to watch out for that. They can also do a Mortal Strike, so we definitely want to watch out for that. The Risen Warlords and the Champions can cast a disease, so we want to make sure that we're dispelling those diseases. So as you can see, as I mentioned earlier, the rule of thumb, which is target the smallest thing out there. Make sure you're dispelling, because nearly all of them have got something we need to be dispelling: diseases, poisons, and avoiding damage when we can. So the next one is the Amari, and with these, they have bears, and when we kill them, a shaman will jump off the bear, and this shaman will do chain lightning, so we need to make sure that we've spread out. It will do a lightning nova, lightning nova totem, sorry. So these will just cause damage and they cannot be damaged, so we just need to make sure we're DPSing the shaman. And they'll do Hex of Confusion, which needs to be dispelled. So with that shaman, we've got chain lightning to spread out, hex of confusion that needs to be dispelled, and the totems that we can't damage. So that is the different tribes that we get. But of course, when the doors open, we can also get a Dynamancer. Now the Dynamancer will spawn after a minute of the door being opened, and what we need to do is that they become the priority. I know I said that the smallest adds to the biggest needs to die, but that is the general rule. But when a Dynamancer is up, we need to make sure that we're killing that. We will also assign someone in the raid to pick up the orbs, because of course the orbs will allow us to, when it's dropped, Horridon to charge the door, which will close it. After Horridon's charged the door and it closes, another door will open after 40 seconds. So I can't stress enough that we kill the Dynamancer. Now, after that, after all the doors are closed, we will get the War God, and he will come down into the middle of the room. One thing I have to say is that the War God will either come down if Horridon gets a 30%, which will normally cause a wipe. So we need to make sure we don't get him anywhere near 30%. As close as we can, but we don't want to be cutting it fine. And when all 4 doors closes, that's when we want him. Now, when he comes down, we're going to have Heroism, and we're going to DPS him down because he does massive raid-wide damage. So, and also we need to be interrupting him every time because he'll heal Horridon, and we don't want that at all. So once he's dead, we're on Horridon. Now, this part where it's just him, I can't stress enough that the only people that should be taking damage is the tanks now, because you don't want anyone standing in front or behind, because I've already gone through Horridon's abilities. And he also gains an ability called Massive Attack, which is a buff that basically means that we have to kill. He will be hitting harder, and we have to kill him quickly. So on the last phase, I'd say I've already told you the abilities, but I'll recap with Horridon. We've got the tank switch, which is triple puncture, and that will be where the tanks will be swapping to 6 or 7 stacks on phase 2. And then we've got the double swipe, which of course we won't be taking any damage from because the other raiders won't be in front or behind the boss. Well, I hope this has been helpful. I know it's a lot to take in, and so remember the general rule: small ad, kill it, and then work up to the big ones. Make sure you're dispelling, interrupting, avoiding damage. You've really got to be offensive and defensive in this fight because it does require a lot and there's a lot going on. But I'm sure we can do it. So I'll see you guys soon. Hope this has helped. Bye.